Am I the jerk for RSVPing no to my daughter's wedding? Post 1, title. Am I the jerk for RSVPing no to my daughter's wedding when my kids aren't welcome? My daughter Jess is getting married to some kid I've never even met. Alan, 25 male. I received the invitation in the mail today, addressed to my wife and me. We were both thrilled at first. Jess is 24, and we've been looking forward to this for years. But then I noticed something strange. The invite was only for the two of us. Not for our kids, not even for Bella, who's only 1 year younger than Jess. Nothing for our younger ones either. 19 male, 16 male, 14 female. I assumed maybe Bella's invite was coming separately. They've always been close. It just feels wrong. How do you invite your father, but not your siblings? I know my wife has already cried twice over it. She and Bella were planning to go dress shopping together. Bella had even written a little poem she wanted to read at the reception. I just don't get it. I also think it's kind of weird that her fiancé hasn't come to me to ask for her hand, and that Jess never officially asked me to walk her down the aisle. I can only assume she hasn't asked because she just assumes that I will, but that doesn't excuse this fiancé of hers. I'm really upset with the lack of communication on her end. I haven't RSVP'd yet, but I sent Jess a message to confirm what was going on. Post 2, title, update. My daughter confirmed none of my kids are invited to her wedding. So Jess replied, it's a child-free wedding. That's her reasoning. Even Bella, who's 23, isn't invited, because in Jess's words, I just want one day, whatever the heck that means. My wife cried again. Bella cried too. We all thought Jess and Bella were like sisters growing up. We raised them as equals. Same clothes, same schools, shared everything. We always tried to make sure Jess didn't feel like she was being pushed aside when I married my wife and brought our families together. I know there were some minor issues with the girls growing up, to be frank. Bella kind of outshone Jess. I know that's horrible to say, and I really wouldn't unless it wasn't true, but frankly, Bella just kind of stole the show. Bella is outgoing and energetic. Jess was just always so quiet and introverted. It wasn't anyone's fault. Bella always had activities going on, dances, prom, that sort of thing. It's not Bella's fault that the boys favored her. I don't know. It hurts. Jess didn't even tell us she was planning a wedding. We got the invite like anyone else. I can't help but feel like she's trying to exclude us as some sort of sick, twisted joke, like maybe she thinks we excluded her. Post 3, title, she still hasn't responded. Jess hasn't responded to anything since the last message. My wife's been sending her kind little texts, just asking to talk. Bella sent one too. Nothing? I'm starting to think she's being influenced by her mother. Jess always had a strong will, but this feels cold. The worst part is, Bella keeps blaming herself. She keeps asking if she did something wrong. I don't get it. Those girls were practically raised like twins. I remember when they were teens, and Jess would complain that her stuff got stretched or worn out, and we'd just replace it with matching pieces for both of them. It was cute. They matched for years. It really bonded them together. My wife is really torn up. Earlier, while crying, she told me that she always thought Jess and Bella would be each other's maids of honor, and now she's dealing with the shock that Bella isn't even invited. Jess won't even let her be in the same room on her big day. Post 4, title, Jess called, but she only wants to see me. She finally called. It was short. She said she's willing to meet me for dinner. Just me, not my wife, not Bella, not the boys. I asked if we could talk as a family, but she said, this has never been about family. It's about you. That really upset my wife. She broke down crying again. We talked about it, and my wife told me to go. She said maybe if Jess sees how much this is hurting everyone, she'll come around. Bella even suggested I bring some of our family photos to remind her of what we had. So I'm going. I know she said just me, but I think it might help if she sees us all together. Reminds her what she's walking away from. Post 5, title, dinner didn't go as planned. She was already there when we arrived. My wife wore one of her best dresses. Bella came too, along with the boys. We brought a few pictures. We were all smiles when we walked in. Jess didn't even sit down. She stood up, grabbed her purse, and said, I said just you. I told her I thought it would help to have everyone there, that maybe she just needed a reminder of how close our family used to be. She looked at me and said, "We were never close. You just told yourself we were." And then she left. My wife cried in the car the whole way home. Bella hasn't come out of her room since. I just don't understand how it got this bad. Post 6. Title: Am I the jerk for going to my daughter's wedding even though I'm technically not invited? After everything, I've decided I'm going to the wedding. Not the ceremony, that part's boring anyway, but the reception. I still have the invite. My name is on it. That's enough for me. My wife has already picked out a beautiful ivory gown that complements what Jess is wearing. Bella has one too. They're going to match. It's symbolic. Family unity. We've already RSVP'd, yes. I know some people think I'm being petty, but this is my daughter. I raised her. I supported her. I always put her first. She just needs to be reminded of the wonderful family she was raised in. Source 7. Poirot. Reception is today. Thank goodness we got there early. We got to the venue early, before the ceremony had finished. The waitstaff was still setting up. We were shocked by what we saw. My wife said that she always knew that Jess had different tastes than us, but that different tastes did not excuse this horror show of a wedding. My wife, who has always been very detail-oriented, was quick to point out all of the hideous details that the venue was setting up. First of all, she was using earth tones for a summer wedding. Her floral arrangement had sunflowers. The help said that the flowers were local. Gross. Their welcome sign was just written on a chalkboard. The cake was green. Green. Honestly, thank goodness this whole invitation misunderstanding happened, because it let us get here in enough time to fix this mess. It was beautiful how our whole family came to action. The boys ran around, ripping all the hideous ribbons and flowers from the wall, while Bella and my wife quickly drove home to bring some class to this event. We were able to scrape most of the green off the cake until we realized that it was lemon-flavored. So unfortunately, this wedding was just going to not have any cake. I had some issues with help, but I showed my ID and told them I was the father of the bride. That seemed to calm them down. By the time we were through with that place, it was absolutely unrecognizable from the freak show it had been when we got there. But we weren't done. The seating chart had Jess and her new husband's families at the main table. We changed that. We moved Jess and her groom to a sweetheart table. We rearranged the family table to better represent our family, with my wife and I in the center and Bella and the boys on either side. There was a welcome sign chalkboard with a message from Jess's mother and the groom's parents. We erased it and wrote our own greeting. I guess the fact it was a chalkboard was good for something. My wife even brought a speaker and was queuing up the songs she and Bella had prepared. They wrote it about two girls growing up as sisters. Heartfelt stuff. I can't wait for my little girl to get here and see what we've done. It's times like these that you realize everything happens for a reason. Post 8. I am devastated. I am devastated. I am destroyed. I can't believe what's happened. We returned home a few hours ago and my wife hasn't been able to stop crying. Bella is hysterical too, and I'm just in shock at what an ungrateful brat my daughter turned out to be. I'll fill Reddit in on the rest of the day so that all of you can fully understand my pain. So after we finished setting up, I stood by the entrance and started greeting guests as they arrived, thanking them for coming, letting them know Jess would be along shortly. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to make new programs as I had to throw out the ones that were there, as Jess had apparently forgotten her family existed. When Jess showed up, she looked stunned. I was so excited. Her dress wasn't really as nice as my girls, but I understood they probably had limited funds. The groom was with her, arm around her waist. She walked up, looked around and said, "What is this?" I was beaming with pride. God, what a fool I was. I explained to her that we had fixed up the venue to really make this a special night. That's when Jess decided to break our hearts. Jess walked right by us like we weren't even there and made a beeline to the stage with the microphone. She turned off the speaker that was playing the lovely playlist Bella had provided. A few people clapped, unsure what was happening. Her groom whispered something to her, and then she held up her hand and smiled. "It's okay," she said. "I just want to say something before we begin." She thanked everyone for coming. She said that everyone she loved was in this room, and that was what was giving her the courage to speak. She turned to me. Dad, I invited you to meet my fiance 3 times over the past 2 years. Each time you had something more important to do with one of your wife's kids. You didn't come to my graduation. You never remembered my birthday, but you always remembered Bella's. She turned to the room. Growing up, I was told I had to share everything. I wasn't allowed to have my own clothes, my own space, my own life. When my stepsister ruined or stretched my clothes, I was told to stop being dramatic. When she bullied me, spread rumors, flirted with my boyfriend, I was told to be the bigger person. No one ever cared to get to know me. Only what Bella liked. Only what your wife approved of. Every time I gave you the chance to act like my dad, you chose to act like Bella's. Every time I asked for a moment, you gave it to your wife. I wasn't raised, I was tolerated. You say you're here for me, but you don't even know me. You've made your choice, and it wasn't me. It was never me. For 14 years, you chose someone else's kids over your own. I'm not angry, I'm done. She looked at Bella. By the way, Alan showed me the pictures you sent. We laughed about them. He's not into you. Then she smiled. To everyone else, please enjoy this night. I was stunned. I barely even realized security was asking us to leave. My wife at this point was understandably hysterical. She ran outside and was crying so hard that she tripped on the hem of her dress and fell into the grass. Her beautiful gown is ruined. She was so upset that it took me 40 minutes to coax her back to our car. My kids were understandably upset and were trying to reason with the help, who were apparently so rude that they threatened to call the police. Realizing Jess had truly lost her mind, we left with our heads held high and our dignity intact. I truly do not know where to go from here with my so-called daughter. All I know is Jess will have to give us some heck of a good apology before we could even consider letting her back into our lives.